Kenya is already a banana republic. In fact, Kenya has been a banana republic since 1966. So it's not a new thing. What we have is not a republic and does not behave like a republic. The first duty of a republic is to its citizens, not to foreigners, not to IMF, not to the World Bank, not to Washington or London or any other state, but to its citizens. Kenyans are not real, genuine citizens. The country does not treat us as citizens. Reason being, and I get reminded every day, people tell me, oh, you're not a citizen. I mean, imagine a Kenyan-born citizen whose entire lineage came from Sudan many centuries ago and have been in Kenya for all this time. I'm told I'm not a citizen. I'm not a citizen because I happen to work outside Kenya for a period of time. Just like your ambassadors work outside Kenya. Nobody has called them non-citizens. Ngugi has worked out of Kenya, Professor Ngugi, for more than 40 years. Nobody has called him a non-citizen. Raila Odinga was in exile in Norway. Nobody called him a non-citizen. Koigi was in exile in Norway. Nobody called him a citizen. But they choose whom to say is not a citizen. Why? For example, when they removed me from Kenya, and said I was not a Kenyan. You see, they are saying they are the ones who vest citizenship, not your mothers. Because citizenship all over the world is vested by the mothers, where you are born. That's it. You know, where your placenta was buried. That's where you belong as a native. But no, not in Kenya. So let's forget about this thing. Let's not pretend that we are citizens. So let us accept that Kenya is not a republic, that we are not citizens, that until we liberate ourselves from this system, we will not enjoy the rights of citizenship. Right now, whatever you think you are enjoying are considered privileges, but by the neocolonial agents of Washington and London. So that's number one. Number two, so I want to answer the question. Is removing Ruto on the streets extra constitutional? And I think I've answered this thing over and over and over again. And it's not just me. Many of us, Professor Kivuta Kibwana has answered it also repeatedly. There is nothing extra constitutional by Kenyans exercising their rights under Article 1, 2, and 10 of the Constitution that vests sovereignty on the people to take onto the streets and say, we don't want you. You are not our leader. You are occupying illegitimate space by virtue of your violations of the Constitution, by virtue of the abductions, by virtue of the tortures, by virtue of the mass killings that you inflicted on Gen Zs on June 25th and thereafter, by virtue of your extreme plunder and continuous plunder, by virtue of your lies, by virtue of the fact that you don't respect us. So Kenyans can do this. And there is nothing extra constitutional about it, because Article 1 only vests sovereignty on the people, not on Ruto, not on his regime, not on a government. So my answer is that is a constitutional route to removing Ruto from power, and you acknowledged it. The other so-called constitutional means that you were alluding to but did not articulate, I don't know. Because you cannot remove a regime that is overarching, is authoritarian through the courts. He controls the courts. He will be able to intimidate the courts, just like he did with the issue of public participation, just like he did with the impeachment of Gachagua. Remember that a no lesser person than a justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Lenaola, has confessed that the judiciary platform where matters are uploaded and filed was brought down by Ruto and denied Gachagua an opportunity to make an urgent application to be able to get a stay of execution on the resolution from the Senate. And you saw that they replaced Gachagua irregularly with Kindiki. Not that I support Gachagua, but even those that I don't support must and have a right to fair administration of justice and due process of the law. So if we are going to build a country based on the rule of law and constitutionalism, we must insist that even our worst enemies must be subjected to the rule of law and must get the full benefits of that law. Then we are building a democracy. So that's my answer to that question. There is nothing extra constitutional by removing Ruto from the streets. And yes, I accept, I agree with Professor Gola that 2 million people in Nairobi CBD will remove Ruto in one day. But if we don't have 2 million people, we should call, a protest and stay there until it's removed. Number two, the question of payment of taxes. Anna invited me to answer this question, and I will answer it in two ways. Number one, unfortunately, Anna, the people so far have no power to stop paying taxes because they deduct you at source. For example, I'll give you two examples. One, if somebody works in the public sector or works formally in a company or at a farm, the employer is obligated to deduct the tax from their pay and remit it to KRA. And most of them will do it without any question. And so it is not up to the person, the citizen, or the people that are living in Kenya, whom I say are not full citizens, to decide whether they pay taxes or not from their earnings. So that's number one. So it's actually outside the hands or the power of the people. Number two, if you go to buy anything in a shop or you are going to fuel your car at a petrol station, the attendant will deduct your tax. And unless you are going to call upon people to start fighting with attendants and shopkeepers all over the country, which I think would be counterproductive, you're not going to achieve much. So to me, this is an exercise in futility right now, because I think you are only thinking of the taxes that are remitted at the end of the year when individuals file their tax. You're thinking of the Western countries. You're not thinking of Kenya. That's not how the majority of Kenyans operate. Their taxes are deducted by and getting services from upfront. So they don't have that option. So I'm not sure that I've answered all the Kigame that we need to convene behind the tent and be able to come up with the way forward. It's the name of the movement is not a big deal. You can even say Ruto must go home movement, and people will catch up to it. It can be as simple as that. Let it not be something too complicated. People already say Ruto must go. So then you just say Ruto must go movement or Ruto must go home movement. Easy to remember and contains the gist of the demand that people are making. It will catch fire and we will be able to achieve what we are looking for. I will land by saying this. popular revolution is not a novel idea. In fact, it is an idea that started with the French Revolution and has run over centuries. You don't need multiplicity of organizations like Professor Gola implied, like was done in the Sudan or in Bangladesh. You can have a group of people coming together, and there are already many, many organizations in existence organizing and mobilizing on the ground, and they are all members of that movement. And the leadership will emerge organically because the leadership of the overarching movement will emerge organically, but the leadership of the members of all these groups already exist. You have social justice movement organizations all over Kenya. You have political parties, including Honorable Neto, Honorable Buka's parties, and others. You have many, many organizations that are involved in this exercise. So we are not reinventing anything. These things, these institutions, these structures already exist. We just have to decide the timing and the best way to bring everybody together so that we push it to the next level. Thank you very much.